chicken people. I'm back for part 2. Now that I've thawed out and warmed up a little bit, had some nourishment, I'm going to try to tackle getting this chicken tractor all buttoned up for the winter. And a couple of things has to happen first. I need to attach the chicken tractor to the hoop house, and I do that with wiggle wire and a piece of plastic. This is the plastic I used last year, and hopefully I judged the distance between the two accurately, and this still fits. We like to reuse the plastic as many times as possible before we break out new plastic. So I'm hoping this piece still fits. So once I'm done with that, then I've got fencing that will go along the bottom here that I have to wrap in plastic. New plastic this year, because last year the plastic around the fencing was pretty gross and beat up. So time for new plastic this year. So that'll be the second step. And then actually the third step is putting in the hay bales, the old hay bales, in the front of the hoop house and along the back here to kind of insulate, keep the wind from blowing through the hoop house at chicken level. So hopefully I can get this done before it gets dark. It's already getting kind of gray out, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm back. So I've finished attaching the chicken coop to the hoop house, mostly, like 80% of it. There's one piece on the east side that I will put on later. It's a long story, but I need to leave a gap in the connection between the two so the chickens eventually figure out that they can get in through the beginning of the hoop house or at the end of the chicken coop. When I initially did it, I sealed the whole thing off, and the chickens were like, how do I get back in? So now I leave a gap on the east side for them to kind of figure out, oh yeah, I can get in here. And after a day or two, they'll figure it out. But anyway, so now I'm going to wrap plastic around fencing. Got this fencing here, old wire fencing that is the right length for the length of the coop. And I'm going to wrap it in new plastic and attach it to the bottom of the coop to keep the wind from coming out. I'm going to do the west side first. That way, if I run out of energy and I just give up for the day, At least the west side's done, which is the windier side, the more exposed side. The prevailing winds come from the west and the northwest, so if that's sealed off, that'll help give them more protection in the coming cold nights. But ideally, I'd like to get both sides done so they're completely, protected. But we'll see. We'll start with the west side. One panel wrapped. The chickens are very curious. So I should mention that this plastic is real greenhouse plastic. It's Tough Light, I believe, from Johnny's, and I'll put a link in the description of this video. And then this is tape. It's actually tarp tape. I got it from Farmer's Friend, and I use it to repair my tarps. It's really sticky and it bonds to plastic really well. I'm hoping it holds up better than the duct tape that I had used in previous years, and even the greenhouse tape that I've used in previous years. They both seem to just sort of disintegrate, and I don't know whether it's the moisture or what, but anyway, so I'll put a link to this as well in the description. But the important thing is use real greenhouse plastic when you're doing anything with a hoop house or plastic shelter for chickens or any other animals. Don't buy the stuff at your local big box store. It is not UV resistant, and it will just disintegrate. And I mean literally disintegrate, blow apart into a gazillion pieces, and you'll be picking plastic out of your field for years. This stuff is rated for 5 years, I believe, is its warranty or guarantee. And we've had the plastic on the hoop house here for, I believe, at least that. I'll have to go back and look. I believe this is the only, actually this might be the second plastic we've done on this hoop house. So it's at least 4, maybe 5 years old. And it still looks great, other than slashes from chickens where we've had to tape it up. But it's not degrading, it's holding up well. So I use real greenhouse plastic for this because I want this to last for a number of years. In the sun, it's going to get sun, all day, for 4 months, 5 months out of the year when they're out here. And hopefully it'll last many, many years. So that's my pro tip for this video. Now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it onto the chicken hoop and get that all snug. Now that I have the panel resting up against the bottom of the coop, I need to fasten this to the coop, mainly because the wind will come through the end of the coop. I'll show you the opening that I'm talking about in a minute, and it'll push behind these panels and can blow them over. And we do get pretty strong winds here in the winter. So I like to just tack these on here and make sure that they don't blow away. I went back and forth a number of times with how to get this to stay on without doing a huge amount of damage to the bottom of the coop, and I came up with, and this is a classic case of thrifty New Englander, I rummaged around in the barn and found a drawer of these cable staples. That's not a good one. These cable staples. Oop. And they work out perfectly. What I need to do to fasten these is get something that will push the wire of the fencing down and hold it in place, because you can't staple through the plastic. It'll just tear with the wind. So you have to make sure that the wire is actually fastened to the bottom of the coop. And this holds it perfectly. I can get the wire in between, and these nails hold, firmly to the wood, and it works out great. So maybe 4 or 5 of these along the length is enough to hold it up against the coop. So that piece of fencing is firmly attached to the side of the chicken tractor. The end of the fencing that leans up against, over there, up against the hoop house, I'm just going to put a cinder block up against it to keep it snug up against the connection between the two, and leave that cinder block there all winter. That'll be fine. Back around here at the end of the chicken tractor, you can see we've put 2 mulch hay bales underneath it. This will block most of the wind coming in, but still allow some ventilation. I do usually take a couple of big chunks of hay bales and shove them in the gap between the bottom of the trailer and this little gap here, to kind of further insulate. And then when a storm blows in, I have a couple of old pieces of plywood that I actually lean up against the back of this just for extra wind protection. It will still allow them to come out. As you can see, one of the chickens just came out. Still allow them to come out this way, but it gives them added draft protection in the really bad weather when the wind is blowing pretty hard. So next I'm going to do another panel of fencing, wrap it with plastic, and put it on the east side. It's the same process that I just showed you with the west side, so I'm not going to video that too, but I'll show you what it looks like when I get that up on the east side. So give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. I finished putting the fencing on the east side of the chicken coop, and I've left a little gap there in the back end of the hoop house so that the chickens can go in and out, when they move about, so that they can kind of figure out how this whole system works. And within a few days they figure out that they can go in at the end of the coop here or at the opening of the long hoop house. If I shut this off right away, there are going to be a few birds that roost here tonight because they can't figure out how to get in on either end. Happens every year. So I've learned just to leave an opening here, and most of them figure it out on the first night. And then I can cover it, and then they figured out how to get in and out. So that's it for this chicken moving video, part 2. And I'm gonna go in and rehydrate and thaw myself out. I am thoroughly frozen. I can't feel my toes. But the chickens are set for winter, and I'm pretty excited about that. One more big thing off the list before winter. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more adventures on the farm. Bye.